My name is Melanie Ferguson, and I'm the preschool director here at Grayson UMC. I was raised Catholic and basically went through all the motions, went through baptism, First Communion, confirmation. But as I grew up, I had a career, a very busy life. I was traveling, I was going off with friends, doing things, just busy, and I really got away from the church. I didn't have time. I felt like I didn't have time. I would say the occasional prayer, but I got away from God. And it wasn't until I was married and we decided to have children that I started saying those prayers of wanting to have children because it wasn't happening for us. And we tried for 6 years, and I prayed to God, but it just didn't happen. I guess God had other plans for me. He said maybe I wasn't ready, I don't know. I had to put my trust into God, even though that's not what I was doing at the time. I was sort of feeling like God was letting me down. And then I became pregnant, not once, but twice, and so I was blessed with 2 children, and I vowed to raise them in the church, and did that, went to church religiously every Sunday, and they went through First Communion, and I taught Sunday school some, but I still felt like I was going through the motions of just going to church, getting the kids ready, and I was also working, raising 2 kids, running a household, keeping up with the family, doing the groceries, doing all those things that the super mom does. And even though I loved my life, it was really hard sometimes. One Sunday when we were getting ready to go to church, it was Easter Sunday, and I got the kids ready. Of course, you know, the daughter had to have the beautiful dress, the son had to look perfect, I had to look perfect, the whole family needed to look perfect, and it was Easter Sunday. We had to be there on time. Well, naturally with kids, sometimes you don't get anywhere on time, and it was definitely, we were not getting to church on time. So we went into church, and it was a very large church. We were late, and there were no seats anywhere. We like to sit in the back, because when you got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, you really don't want to sit in the front, because some embarrassing things can happen, and did. So there were no seats there, and so the gentleman, the greeter, motioned for us to come down to the front, and I did not want to go down front, not with a 2 and a 4-year-old. We were late, and we had to walk in front of everybody, and I was mortified. But we waddled down front with the family, with my mom and my dad, and they sat us on the front row. I was very nervous. I was late. I was flustered. I was just fit to be tied. I led such a busy life, and I think I was at that point of almost like a breaking point, not a nervous breakdown, but I just thought, I can't handle this anymore. I can't do this anymore by myself. But it seemed like the closer we got to the front, I don't know, I felt more like something was coming over me, and a feeling of not resolution, but it was different. It was a feeling of maybe somebody was taking over. And we sat down, and there was a beautiful stained glass window in the front of the church, and I had seen it many times. But this window, I don't know, that day was more beautiful and larger than life. It became more than a window. I felt Christ really reaching out for me, and I get chill bumps when I talk about it, but I barely heard what the priest was saying because I just had this feeling that everything was going to be fine. And I think it was Christ talking to me, saying, you know what, you're not in this alone. You're not doing this alone. And I liken it to driving a bus. And I was always driving the bus. I drove the bus everywhere, and I drove the bus alone. But I almost felt like God was saying, move over and just let me drive for a while. And I did. I put my whole self into God's hands from then on, and things began to change. I did Bible study. I started praying a little bit more, a lot more. I got a new career path, which is where I am today, and I feel like the eyes of God look into me every day and these children, and I'm much more patient with my family, with my children, because I'm letting God I'm letting God direct my life. I'm letting God drive my bus. I can trust God no matter what.